There is a place in Scotland that looks as if it is stuck in time. In this deep river gorge lies a unique, self-contained village that is of such historical significance it has been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. That site is New Lanark. Today we explore the amazing historical site of New Lanark. It's one of Scotland's most fascinating and well-preserved examples of an early 19th century industrial village, and its story is deeply intertwined with the social reforms of the Industrial Revolution, founded in 1786 by David Dale, a Glasgow merchant, and his partner Richard Arkwright, a pioneering English industrialist. New Lanark was established as a cotton spinning mill complex powered by the fast-flowing waters of the River Clyde. The site was chosen for its access to water power, which was essential for driving the machinery in the mills. At its peak, New Lanark was one of the largest industrial sites in Scotland, employing over 2,000 people, many of whom were women and children drawn from the surrounding rural areas and even from as far as the Highland clearances and urban poorhouses. New Lanark is a former 18th century cotton spinning mill village located on the banks of the Falls of Clyde, just under 1 hour from Glasgow and Edinburgh. Today, it recognized as one of Scotland's 6 UNESCO World Heritage Sites of outstanding universal value and welcome over 300,000 visitors annually to the site. New Lanark has a resident village community of 65 households set within a national nature reserve with outstanding designed landscapes and woodlands. In the village, it has an award-winning visitor centre offering a range of visitor attractions and a fantastic learning and outreach program, as well as the New Lanark Mill Hotel, mill shop and cafe. What makes New Lanark particularly significant is its association with the social reformer Robert Owen, who took over management of the mills in 1800 after marrying David Dale's daughter, Caroline. The time before Robert Owen was a tough time for all the Lanark workers, in particular the children who suffered perils from moving machinery and long working hours. The mills was one of the hardest and dangerous places to work, and Robert Owen was determined to change the working conditions for everyone at the mill.
You've been at that desk since supper. Even on our first month as husband and wife, you're more married to those ledgers than to me.
Forgive me, but these numbers, they tell a story I can't ignore. Did you see the report from the carding room? Children as young as 7, working 12-hour shifts. Their fingers bleed from the cotton, and the overseers call it discipline.
I've seen it, and I've heard my father's arguments. They're better off here than starving in the streets. But I've also seen the way they cough, the way their eyes. They're children, Robert, not cogs in a machine.
Exactly. And that's what I want to change. Not just for the children, for all of them. The spinners, the weavers, the families packed into those tenements like herring in a barrel. If we treat them like animals, they'll produce like animals.
You truly believe this will work?
I know it will. I've seen it before, in Manchester. When workers are fed, rested, and given a stake in their labour, they work better. The cloth is finer, the machines run smoother, and the profits rise.
And when my father hears this, when the other mill owners call you a dreamer, or worse, a radical?
They already do. But I didn't come here to please them. I came here because you believed in this too. Because you've seen what I've seen, and you know it doesn't have to be this way.
I do, but belief isn't enough. We'll need to show them. Start small, the children first.
The school, yes. A place where they can learn, play, where they're children, not just tiny hands for the mills. And we'll pay the mothers a fair wage for the hours they're not working. No more leaving infants to crawl on the factory floor while their mothers tend the looms.
You'll have the overseers calling you mad, and the workers won't trust this at first. They'll think it's a trick.
Then we'll show them it's not. We'll open the ledgers, let them see the numbers, no secrets, and will ask them, "What do you need?" A man who's heard is a man who'll listen.
And if it fails, if the profits don't rise,
Then we try again. Because the alternative is a world where children grow up never knowing what it's like to hope. I can't accept that. Not here. Not anywhere.
Robert then had the daunting task of trying to convince the established traditional mill owners to change their practices and to take up these new working conditions. It must have been extremely difficult to convince the mill owners, which in their minds would to reduce profitability for their mill, but Robert was a very persuasive and determined person.
You've a habit of walking in like you own the place, Owen. News for you. I do own this place. Or had you forgotten?
I haven't forgotten, but I have been reviewing the accounts, and I'd like to discuss a few changes.
Changes. You've been here 5 minutes and already you're talking changes. Dale Randy's mill's just fine without your improvements.
David Dale was a great man, but even he knew the system could be better. Tell me, McNab, how many children did we lose to fever last winter?
Aye, son, it's the way of things. You can't stop the egg.
14 children under 10 dead from fever and exhaustion, and another 23 too sick to work for more than a month. Here's the cost. Lost labour, training new hands, the doctor's fees. It's all right here.
You're not here to run a charity, Owen. We're not a bloody hospital.
I'm not suggesting we are. I'm suggesting we stop wasting money. Those children, their mothers were too exhausted to care for them properly. The tenements are damp, the diet's poor, and the hours are killing them. You call it charity, I call it good business.
Good business. You want to cut their hours, feed them better, and now you're talking about schools? You'll bankrupt us inside a year.
Look at these figures. From a mill in Manchester, similar size, similar output. They cut the children's hours to 10 a day, gave the workers a half day on Sundays, and increased production by 12%. Less fatigue, fewer mistakes, better quality cloth.
Manchester? That's Lancashire. This is Scotland. Our workers are tougher.
Our workers are people, McNab, and right now they're working like slaves. You think that's sustainable? The world is changing. The workers in Glasgow are starting to talk of unions. The government's whispering about factory laws. If we don't act now, we'll be forced to later, and it'll cost us far more.
What exactly are you proposing?
First, the children. No one under 10 in the mills. Those younger go to a school, our school, where they learn reading, numbers, and a trade. Their mothers get a small wage to mind them. Those children, in 5 years, they'll be the best trained workers in Scotland. Loyal to us because we gave them
And the cost?
covered by the savings from reduced sick days and higher quality work. And if we sell the extra cloth at a slightly higher price, marketed as new Lanark quality, we'll recoup it within 2 years.
Fine, but we try it with one mill first. And if the profits drop by so much as a farthing, I'm shutting it down. And you'll be the one telling the workers they're back to 14-hour days. And if this works, I'll eat my hat.
Robert transformed New Lanark into a model industrial community, introducing reforms that were revolutionary for the time. These included shorter working hours, 10.5 hours a day when 13-14 hours was the norm, free healthcare, a sick fund for workers, and the provision of quality housing. He also established one of the world's first infant schools, where children as young as 2 were educated and cared for while their parents worked. Owen's reforms were so progressive that New Lanark became a magnet for social reformers, politicians, and even royalty, who visited to see his experiments in action. His ideas laid the groundwork for the cooperative movement and influenced later labor laws and social welfare systems. The village itself was designed to be self-contained, almost like a small town. Workers lived in tenement-style housing provided by the mill owners, and the community included a company store where goods were sold at fair prices, a school, a church, and even a public institute for adult education. The mills operated almost continuously, and life in New Lanark was regimented, with strict rules governing behavior both inside and outside of work. Despite this, the quality of life was considerably better than in many other industrial towns of the period, where overcrowding, poor sanitation, and exploitation were rife. Owen's philosophy was that by improving the living and working conditions of the workers, he could create a more harmonious and productive society. His ideas were radical, and while not all were fully realized, New Lanark became a blueprint for future industrial communities. By the mid-19th century, however, New Lanark's fortunes began to decline. The cotton industry faced increasing competition from larger, more modern mills in places like Lancashire, and the introduction of steam power reduced the advantage of water-powered mills like New Lanark. The community also struggled with changing ownership and management, and by the late 19th century, the mills were operating at a reduced capacity. The last mill closed in 1968, and the village fell into disrepair. Many of the buildings were threatened with demolition, but a grassroots campaign in the 1970s led to the formation of the New Lanark Conservation Trust, which began the painstaking process of restoring the site. In 2001, New Lanark was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in recognition of its outstanding universal value as an example of early industrial housing and its role in the development of social reform. Today, New Lanark is a thriving visitor attraction that offers a unique blend of history, heritage, and natural beauty. The New Lanark Visitor Centre, housed in one of the restored mill buildings, provides an immersive experience that takes visitors back in time to the village's heyday. The exhibition also includes displays on Robert Owen's reforms, the history of cotton production, and the restoration of the village. Visitors can explore the historic workers' housing, some of which has been furnished to reflect different periods, from the Spartan conditions of the early 1800s to the more comfortable living standards of the late Victorian era. Another key attraction is the New Lanark Mill Hotel, which is located in one of the former mill buildings and offers modern accommodations while retaining many original features. The hotel's restaurant, the Mill One Cafe, serves locally sourced food and offers views over the river. For those interested in shopping, the New Lanark Mill shop sells a range of products including textiles, gifts, and books related to the site's history. There's also the New Lanark Ice Cream Parlor, which is a hit with families, serving homemade ice cream in a charming setting. Beyond the village itself, the surrounding area offers stunning natural beauty, particularly along the Falls of Clyde. The River Clyde carves its way through a deep gorge here, creating a series of dramatic waterfalls, including the Corra Linn, the largest of the falls, which drops over 80 feet. The Falls of Clyde Wildlife Reserve, managed by the Scottish Wildlife Trust, is a haven for nature lovers. The reserve is home to a variety of wildlife, including badgers, otters, and over 100 species of birds, such as peregrine falcons, dippers, and kingfishers. There are several well-marked walking trails that allow visitors to explore the gorge and enjoy the waterfalls from different viewpoints. The most popular route is the circular walk that starts at New Lanark, follows the river upstream to the falls, and returns via the opposite bank. The walk is about 4 miles long and takes roughly 2 to 3 hours to complete, depending on your pace. It's a moderately easy walk, though there are some steep sections and uneven paths, so sturdy footwear is recommended. The site also has connections to some darker aspects of history. During the early years of the mills, child labor was common, and while Owen worked to improve conditions, the reality for many children was still one of long hours and hard work. There are records of children as young as 8 or 9 working in the mills, and accidents were not uncommon. The story of these child workers is an important reminder of the human cost of industrialization, even in a place as progressive as New Lanark. One of the most fascinating stories associated with New Lanark is that of the New Lanark Girls, a group of young women who worked in the mills in the early 19th century. Many of these girls came from the Highlands or from poor urban areas, and they often started work at a very young age. The conditions were tough, but compared to other mills, New Lanark offered relative safety and stability. One notable figure is Annie McLeod, the fictional character whose story is told in the visitor center's ride. While Annie herself is not a real person, her story is based on the experiences of real mill girls. These women were often the primary breadwinners for their families, and their lives were a mix of hard labor and community spirit. There are records of the girls forming friendships, singing together as they worked, and even participating in strikes when conditions became unbearable. Their resilience and contributions to the success of New Lanark are a key part of the site's history. Another intriguing tale is that of the Utopian experiments that Robert Owen attempted to implement not just in New Lanark but also in other parts of the world. After leaving New Lanark in 1825, Owen traveled to the United States, where he founded a communal society called New Harmony in Indiana. The experiment was based on his principles of cooperation and equality, but it ultimately failed due to internal conflicts and financial difficulties. Despite this, Owen's ideas continued to influence social reform movements, and his legacy is still celebrated at New Lanark today. New Lanark hosts a variety of events and activities throughout the year. These include guided tours that delve deeper into the history of the mills and the lives of the workers, as well as special events like the New Lanark Illuminated, where the village is lit up with beautiful light installations during the winter months. There are also workshops and educational programs, particularly for schools that focus on the Industrial Revolution, social history, and the natural environment. The site is particularly popular with families as it offers a mix of history, interactive exhibits, and outdoor activities that appeal to both children and adults. For those interested in the broader history of the Clyde Valley, New Lanark is also a great starting point for exploring other nearby attractions. New Lanark is a place where history, nature, and innovation come together. It's a site that tells the story of the Industrial Revolution in a very human way, focusing not just on the machinery and economics of the time, but on the lives of the people who lived and worked there. Today, it stands as a testament to the power of social reform and the enduring legacy of Robert Owen's vision. Whether you're interested in history, architecture, nature, or simply a day out in a beautiful setting, New Lanark has something to offer. The combination of the restored village, the dramatic Falls of Clyde, and the stories of the people who called this place home makes it a truly special destination. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Scotland's past and present. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing to Exploring Scotland, then and now, so you don't miss where we explore next.